Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we have some replays with the brand new version of the Ashen K9 deck that I've been playing. This is like probably like one of the best possible builds for the deck you can play. The K9's very strong, very helpful, especially for like turn 0 plays. Making one of our rank 5s that have really good disruption in various ways. Being able to bridge into it for an extra disruption is really cool. It's like kind of layered because you can leave Azuna in your hand, and then when you fusion with Vados to board wipe, you don't have to worry about your extra boss monster getting your extra disruption getting destroyed by Vados because you just hold it for later. So yeah, it's been very nice, very handy. The last like several builds that I've been posting have been with this like main little side engine, and it's been really fun, really good. And adding to that, we now have the Fallen and the Virtuous quick play spell. So I went over this before, but basically it's just a quick play spell that targets a face-up card in the field and pops it, and you send a Albaz mentioned fusion monster or monster from the extra deck. And so we have two Albions because Albion can just set another Fallen in the Virtuous at the end phase. And then for our last one, we have Ecclesia, who can shuffle something back on the field, herself and a level 8 fusion monster, and then any card on the field. So we basically get 3 pops, and then at the end of the 3 pops, we get another disruption. So very, very cool, very, very strong. And the quick plays are very fun with droplets. So you can activate something like Chaotic Elements, and then if they chain something, you can chain Awakening of Vados, you can chain Fallen in the Virtuous, and if they chain some more, then you can droplets, send them all away, and then negate a bunch of other stuff, pop something with the Fallen, search for whatever off of your other cards. It's a very, very fun deck. It's super like grindy, and the more non-engine you see, the better you're gonna do in the grind game, because the non-engine is just so it's just so damn strong. And some of the things I like about it is that it's all very versatile stuff. Chaotic Elements can steal so many different monsters with the right setup. So it can and it can out things with its first effect, or its secondary first effect, where if you have 3 or more Aqua Zendor Pyros, you can pop a card. So it's just very strong, very, very neat. And you can pop your own things, your opponent's things. Fallen the Virtuous can pop your Obsidian for a quick summon from the deck if you don't have Vados, to just keep things going. There's a lot of cool things, a lot of neat interactions. Like the deck is just like, it's just really cool. And even if you don't see non-engine, there's ways to like get into our side engine with. We can get into Lantern with some of our Ashen cards, mainly like Extinguishing. We can get into Queen with Extinguishing, Chaotic Elements, Awakening, and we can get into Emperor with Infernal Flame Banshee. There's a lot of cool little neat synergies, and yeah, I've been like, I feel like I'm one of those those dudes with like the statues in like ancient like Greek or something like that, where I'm like chiseling away at the marble. And I'm getting closer. Like you can see like the beautiful face of my marble statue. And I'm like building out the physique of that statue. Like we're constantly getting closer and closer to something greater, something better with this deck. So yeah, I'll have a bunch of replays for you guys. If you guys are interested in that, like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so for this first one, I lose the coin flip. My opponent's going first. And they're starting off with Labyrinth. It's something you never want to see. But he sets Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch, and I'm like, alright, that's an interesting card to set. First turn. And then he starts with, and then he normal summons Lacrimon. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to Ash this, because it seems like a really good Ash. It's going to put him on a weird position. And I'm really thinking about this Archfiend's Ghastly Glitch. It obviously turns off my Lupus, because I can't, I would just play into it. He gets a Foolish, it's not worth it. So he's going through some motions. He's gonna equip onto his engraver, and he's gonna end it right there with another set. And we top deck Awakening of Vados. And things are always good when you see that. And I'm like, you know what? It's Labyrinth. He's got a bunch of normal traps. I'm just gonna get rid of this engraver. Just get it off the field. We get our search, and then we're locked into Pyros. So he summons out this Requiem, and I'm like, oh my god, who really cares? He has Ash. He didn't Ash the Awakening, which would have been significantly better, but he Ashes the Elements. And I guess it's like, all right. So we summon our Priestess. We're gonna get our Extinguishing, and then we're gonna Vados here. Get our Trap. And we're summon King out. King's gonna attempt to summon, and he does an interesting play here. He targets the Vados to pop. And I'm like, alright, well, let's see what he sends. Probably Backjack or something. But no, he sends Archfiend Harris. And then I realized, like, oh shit, there's an Archfiend card as well. Like, he's playing, like, an Archfiend engine. And he searches for the quick play spell. And I'm like, huh, that's some pretty interesting stuff here. So, I go for this Fusion Summon. I activate Extinguish and grab another Vados. And I go for this Fusion Summon. Because I'm like, you know what, let me just clear these, let me clear out these bodies a little bit. Add back Field Spell, because we have Vados, and we have the Trap already, so we're looking alright here. So I attack over, and then it's a Pyro because of the Obsidian, and then Embers lets us destroy it, and then attack again. And then end phase we get our Albion, and you know, I think things are looking pretty neat here. So he's gonna go for his engraver, and we've been doing a pretty decent job keeping him off of that stuff. But then he goes for this usurpation, and he sets a Ghastly glitch, and it can be activated this turn. And I'm like that's the second Ghastly glitch that he's activated, that he's set, and it can be activated this turn, which is pretty funky that he can do that. So he forces out the Fall, not anything else, and I'm like, you know what, that's perfectly fine. And he summons Arius, and I'm like, oh my god, if he doesn't have any other traps, that Arius isn't really gonna matter. So we pop the engraver, which is gonna keep him off of the Fiendsmith stuff. And then the reason why he forced it out is so he can send Buio. And I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. So I'm like, all right, I gotta go for my fusion stuff. I gotta make this big guy, because I know what he's gonna summon off of that. The fusion monster associated with this is really, really tough. And then it activates Simul Archfiend. I'm like, dude, this Archfiend engine is kicking my ass right now. It's the most, like, annoying thing. And then you almost summon Duke's Archfiend. And he sends this girl, and he searches for a field spell. And I'm like, god damn it, bro. I just used my Vados. So he links off for Muckraker. And I'm like, there's no point popping the field, because this can protect stuff, and I just lose my field. So I'm like, all right, you know, I'm just gonna leave the bodies on the board, and these guys are kind of small anyway. So, and he fusion summon into Loose, and I was like, you know what, this is where things get pretty rough. He's gonna banish this. He's gonna add the Pendulum monster, and I'm like, this guy just keeps going, and he activates it. And he activates the effect, and I misplay here pretty bad, because I should have gone into my Lupus a lot sooner. Once the fusion monster got popped, I basically should have instantly went for Lupus. But because of that, this gets to activate, and it gets to pop another card in the field. So it has an ignition pop, and then it can pop again. So I was like, alright, well, you know what, I'm going to take some extra damage for that, but it is what it is, right? So he pops the Priestess, and then I make the Typhon just to get bang, and things are looking pretty bad right now. He sends this away, he gets Mutiny back, but he can't fusion with it. And then he sends it away, he summons back Engraver. Then he equips onto the Engraver. And then he sets. And I don't know, this is the second time he's done this with the Engraver. Like, the first time I get it, but the second, like, there's no real need for this. So we get our Fallen, and we top deck Awakening again. But at this point, we're running low on ideas for Vados, so we grab Queen here instead, because Queen can get us a lot more. So I I opt to send the Muckraker away because there's not much I can do with it. And then I'm like, you know what? I can just fusion these guys all the way. They're all pyros now. But then he chains the Usurpation and uses my Vados as ritual material. And this guy's been doing a great job with his archery and stuff, especially keeping me off of these cards. So now here's a super important play. This is like if you know on like the chess.com or whatever, the app, like this would have like a brilliant move. If this card is ritual summoned, you can destroy as many spells and traps your opponent controls as possible. Which is like, alright, you know, he's kind of out of it, you know, I don't have anything crazy. But then if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can banish all spells and traps from your opponent's graveyard. That is absolutely devastating. And on top of that, it's like unaffected by other monster effects while in the extra monster zone. And I'm like, this guy is a problem. He's going to banish all of our follow-up. He's going to banish our Obsidians, like one from the field, one from the grave. He's gonna banish our chaotic elements, and then we kind of just fumble right there. Like that's basically it. So I chain Fallen, send Ecclesia to target this, and pop it because now it's not in the extra monster zone, so everything just gets destroyed. So we can summon out Priestess on the destruction of Obsidian, and then we can normal summon Shaman, put some guys back into the deck so we have some more follow-ups, and no more Obsidians, unfortunately. But we can grab our Banshee, and Banshee's going to get us our Volcanic Emperor, because we have enough to shuffle back and to summon himself. So we get rid of the Engraver, we make this a Pyro with the trap in graveyard by banishing it, and a Pyro, we summon out the Emperor. It's game on board. But yeah, that was a pretty tough, that was a pretty fun game. It was actually really like you know, the replays cut out all like the waiting time between all the reading and all that, but this is actually a super long game. I think we played for like 30 minutes. Like it was a very, very long game. I remember because I was on the bus on the way to work, and no, I was on the bus on the way to locals, and yeah, this game was like the entire bus ride. We were just going back and forth. There's a lot of reading comprehension. This guy was very, 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 very good. He did great with like keeping us off of the Vados, and because we had so much other things, like it didn't matter like a crazy amount. It was really down to the wire though. The Fallen, the Virtuous, it really came up. It really came up, popping stuff, constantly removing stuff, like right when it needed to be. And you know, this queen, funnily enough, did like nothing, but she would have been really good at the start of the duel. Like if we got her out really early, and a lot of like the stuff getting banished from the field, like I think that would have cut some of the recursion and stuff. But no, we got it. It was a really fun game. All right, moving on to our next duel. We win the coin flip, and our hand's looking kind of rough. But we don't get disrupted, so things are all of a sudden looking good now. Whenever you get a Perulia going first, it's always kind of whack. But just the way that Master Duel is, you have to main deck at least one of the Molten Armies, right? So we're going through the motions, we're doing our thing. We're going for the Infernal Flame Banshee, and we're gonna add our Emperor. And we're gonna do our usual thing. We fuse them away and whatnot. We have our double ash and our Perulia, and like, yeah, Perulia is obviously not doing much, but 2 ashes is kind of cool, kind of good actually. We didn't get, like, if they like charmed us and we ashed them, like we'd be up so high right now. But just having it's nice, because we know for the follow up for our turn, if they have any play on our turns kind of thing, that we have an extra ash. So yeah, we end on the normal board other than Queen, and he instantly is like, all right, I'm gonna drop a Red Geki, and it's like, all right, well, we have to fuse now, so we got to get all the boys rounded up, put them in the graveyard, and bring out our big Vados. And then our Banshee left behind, she gets destroyed. But Now we have a giant monster, and we still have our pop. So he's going for the silent stuff, and I just realized he discarded Castirithiosis. That's I rewatched this. I probably realized it at the time I was playing, but I rewatched the replay and I didn't actually realize that. So he's playing this, which obviously means he has some kind of like Dragoon, Dark Magician of Destruction stuff going on. So he activates the effect, and I immediately pop it, because we can get this off. We pop this, get it off the field. We send the trap away for cost, and then the trap can banish itself and another Dark Pyro to make all his monsters Pyro. So the next, I think it's like 5 or 6 or higher spellcaster he summons, we can make it a Pyro, so he can't go into the Dark Magician of Destruction. So he goes for Regenesis Archfiend, and I'm like, this guy's full of surprises. It's like 16 different like archetypes going on right now. And I ash him because I'm like, you know what, we're gonna keep him off the Regenesis stuff. And then he summons Dark Magician, and I'm like, all right, here's where we follow up with what I said. We do the trap, and now he's kept off of the Dragoon stuff, and he's like, you know what, I got a Typhon, I got to get rid of this guy somehow. So he attacks us for a bunch of damage. He has this, I think there's a spell negate. Yeah, spell negate. But he doesn't really have much here. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna Specialist Priestess. I'm gonna get my Extinguishing, and he has an Imperm. And it's like, all right, well, he probably top decked that, being that he didn't Imperm us before. Which, if he did, that would have been super rough for us. But we can get the boy out, and unfortunately, he's not going to burn because of the Typhon. He's 31, but we get to summon Banshee out, and we're gonna clear his board out. So we attack over these guys, and then we make a Little Knight. And I'm not really worried about the Typhon, but I am worried about the Shining Sark searching every turn and giving him resources and whatnot. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to banish that. I'm more worried about that. He draws, normal summons Maxi. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Any monster would have been it. And he makes a Little Knight, and I immediately knew. And he's going to take a little 5 burn. And I'm like, you know what, I might as well chain the Little Knight. Maybe he doesn't chain, or he chains and he chains it wrong. But he chains it right. And yeah, there's a Chain Link 3, and it's all SP Little Knights. Yeah, I don't know why he entered the battle phase, but there's 2 Little Knights on the field, but I have a ton of resources, and he doesn't. So I top deck Azuna, and I'm like, I contribute the Little Knight, and then send the Lupus, and have it all in rotation. But he's definitely gonna banish this and keep his Little Knight. So I was like, I don't want to deal with that. And then he summons this guy, and I'm like, oh shit, this is actually kind of rough. And then it's not rough anymore because we top deck Fallen in the Virtuous. So we can't fall in this, unfortunately, because it protects from targeting. But we can fall in our field spell, and we summon out Shaman, because I think all of our priestesses are used up. Yeah, all 3 of them are gone. So we add back our field spell, we send our Lupus, and we attack over this. We place our field spell, and we're gonna draw because we have another one in Grave, and we get our Fallen in the Virtuous from our Albion. And we're up right now. We're looking good right now. This Chaotic Elements is basically gonna add anything that's game. He draws, it's nothing. We draw, it's another Chaotic Elements. But the writing's really on the wall here. It's like so clear. We activate the Lantern, and he's like, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that the top decking the Fallen the Virtuous there was like, probably not like exactly what we needed. Like I think Chaotic Elements would have done the same thing as well. But it's still like it's like added like it's added like pressure, because now he's like, all right, well, I know that's Fallen in the Virtuous. I know he has Lupus in the grave, and like unknowns in hand. We only use 1 Ash the whole time, which is pretty funny. Which means I could have banished the Typhon and then just Ash the Shining Sark next turn, but like, if he top decks something like Call by the Grave or something, who knows what he could have had, what else he could have had. So best to avoid issues when you can, right? But yeah, but like following the Virtuous there, it really adds a lot of pressure because it's like we went from like Inazuna and an Ash to like the field spell up, and then like extra cards in hand, more like just a lot more presence on the board, and it really took him down. All right, in our next duel, we won the coin flip. Going first, of course, you see the Perulia, and I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna drop the Perulia. Whatever happens, happens. But we have a pretty good hand regardless. So I start with the canine stuff just so. Sometimes you just drop elements and they just leave. They just see like canines and they just get out of there. And it's like, you know, no harm in trying. And if we get hand trapped, then we can make Ripper. But we're gonna get hand trapped, so we just have Zuna chilling. But we didn't need our normal summon. We got our searches in, and we're getting our combo going now. So you know, it's the same as usual. Same as we do it. Yeah, I as much as I really like Queen, like Emperor is like the real like he's such good such a good piece on the end board. He's like follow up for the next turn. He's like burning. He's like applying pressure. He's really good. Like in so many ways. He's a body you don't mind fusing away. Like if he gets popped, like whatever happens to him, it's like fine. There's so many ways to recur him, bring him back, and summon him back. Constantly do burn. Very good. Very cool guy. And then we get our end phase draw, and it's droplets, and it's like, damn. Well, what can you do? It is what it is. And then he activates the Castira field spell, and I'm like, alright, well, we get the Vados on his field, and then he activates a Monarch card. And I'm like, oh shit, he has no extra deck. I didn't even like realize that. And I'm like, I gotta fuse this Vados off right now before he tributes it for some Monarch, and then like a bunch of things start going off, and then like I'm just like so far behind. Like Fusion Vados is gonna be so hard to out because everything they have is like targeting and destruction or whatever, and yeah, he's gonna be hard to out unless they have like Stormforth or something. So, but he has like full like Castira stuff going on. He searched for Birth. He had the Eosis. He probably drew into it. He's searching for Ogre, and it's like damn, what's going on here? But yeah, he's gonna keep going. He had the Stormforth, and I'm like, all right, great. And I'm like, all right, which monarch are we gonna see? Who's coming out now? Vanity's Fiend, and I'm like, well, at least I know that's the end of his like basically the end of his combo, right? He's gonna banish Little Knight. Little Knight doesn't really matter. This also doesn't really matter. But we have droplets, and we have some counterplay. We top deck the Fallen, and it's like he was the issue we had before we top deck the Fallen. We can droplets. We can send like Case or whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. We can send Izuna, but we can't send the Field Spell, the Trap, and the Inferno, because once we negate this, then we're able to summon out Volcanic Emperor, and we're able to use Inferno to summon back. I'll pull it up in case you guys want to read it. Yeah, we can use Inferno's second effect here to summon back the Vados from our graveyard, and then fuse off the two Castiras for the big fusion again below his field once more. The issue is, once we activate droplets, we've activated a spell while he controls the Castira, and then he can birth, and he can banish some of our stuff from the graveyard. And it's like, is he smart enough to know what to banish? Maybe he thinks Elements is an issue. Maybe he thinks Lantern's an issue. Maybe, and if he hits Vados, that's like the end of like everything. If he hits Emperor, that's not necessarily the worst, but it is going to be a lot rougher, especially when we summon it back and we attempt to burn and summon back Banshee, and then he Fenrir's to a pop stuff or banish face down. So we were in a predicament, and then Fallen the Virtuous was just like, nah. So we can chain like one Fallen, chain like two droplets, and send all of the unnecessary cards away. We didn't really need any of the canine cards. They were just extra like fodder basically. So we don't have to worry about anything getting shuffled back. We send the Vanity's Fiend. We summon out our Vados. We fuse everything away to make our big Vados. I never get tired seeing that animation. And then we summon back the Goat, Volcanic Emperor, and usually our opponents kind of leave. The last 2 replays they've left. This guy's got some fight left in him. He's trying not to lose right now. He summons out the Prime Monarch, but it's just not enough. We have too much here, and we banish this. We take control. The writing's on the wall. We attack him for game, and that's that. Summoning Vanities there is like super rough. I get what he was trying to go for. He had the Kashtira set up. He had the Birth and all that, and then locking us at a special summoning. Like in theory, like that was a pretty damn solid end board, especially after he's broken my board too. So I get what he was trying to go for, but unfortunately for him, we the drawing the droplets in the end phase was like astronomically huge, but then drawing the Fawn on top of that, like one or the other would have added the Vanities, but we would have played into the Birth, and then like from there it's like I don't know what he would have. I can't say what he would have done because I don't know. And yeah, but having both, it was like I didn't have to worry about that scenario anymore. So it was a fun, cool duel. Random Vanities. There's been a lot of Vanities because of an aircraft, but yeah, I like forgot like Monarchs can run it. All right, here we are. This is our last replay. It's a decently long one, but yeah, I looked at this hand and I was like, I'm gonna lose the draw, and I was like, oh, I have Cold Buy, and then he has Imperm, and I'm like, all right, well, kind of lose the Imperm, but it is what it is. You know, we set 2 pass. We got an Ash, we got a Cold Buy, we got a Droplets, and we got a Vados. They're playing a field spell deck. We're golden. Summons Cool Tune Mix, and I'm like, all right, well, this is the last thing I possibly wanted to see. I absolutely despise going against this deck, but I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. It's my rank up game. I'm not gonna leave quite yet. We Droplets this, so we can't get his summon. We Ash this Synchro, which is weird because he could have just chained the Synchro to this. He could have chained the Synchro to the Droplets, but he's playing Imperm and Cool Tunes, so he doesn't exactly know what's going on. He uses Ghost Bell to make a Cool Tune remix, and this one tributes itself for a cost. So I'm like, hell yeah. He sets a card, and I'm like, surely there can't be another Synchro. And if it's Imperm, he would have set it in the same column as this. It's an Imperm, and he did not set it in the same column, which is really gonna screw him up, because if he did, yeah, this wouldn't have been a replay, and it would have been over right here. But we called by this, and now he's just got 1 card in hand, whatever he's top decking. Cool Tunes don't have any graveyard effects or anything that we have to worry about. So we also don't have anything, so, you know, it is what it is. He draws, passes. I'm like, hell yeah. Draw an Ash, and I'm like, hell no. But we still attack. And if he has any plays regarding his field spell, we have the Vados. And Ash is kind of solid against like his normal summons or whatever. And he passes again. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I'm like, please get something, and we got the opposite of him. And then he fools us, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to give him any draws. He's not doing anything. So it's obvious he has all super specific hand traps. So I'm gonna Ash the Fool, and then I'm gonna drop the Vados. And I put it in attack position because we have the elements in the graveyard. So I'm like, if things go wrong, we don't need much to game him. He's pretty damn close. So I summon the King out. King gets Veiler. I'm like, all right, well, this is fine because he's at 1 card in hand. He's gonna be top decking, and like it's obviously nothing because he hasn't done anything with it yet. So we take control of the Vados. We attack for a bunch of damage here, 54, I believe it was, in total. And then yeah, he's down to 14. And he threatens battle phase here. That's why I fuse here. And I was like, you know what? Let me just get the big guy on the field, because that big guy plus the pop is going to be much harder to out than just an Embers getting back the field spell, popping the field. And he sets 2 pass, and I'm like, you know what? I hate Cool Tune. I'm going to normal summon this Perulia to put him on a timer and to also, like, you know, disrespect him a little bit. And I immediately pay the price. He draws Q, and I'm like, fuck, this is like the absolute worst thing he could have drawn for me. It's the best thing he could have drawn for himself, but this is rough. So he summons Mix, and then I pop the Mix. I'm like, all right, you know what? The levels might be weirder with Mix. And he grabs a Rotary, and then he makes Track Maker. And then his effects go off. He's gonna look at my top deck. He's gonna replace from the graveyard into the bottom of the deck, which no one ever does that with Rotary. He places the trap, which is so weird because it's like it's really not that important, especially like his stuff being Pyro. Like, it's not that important. So he sees Obsidian, he sees Shaman, and he banishes the Shaman. And then he uses the one he just added to make Zaylin and Track Maker when it's synchroned away, non-target banish. And now I'm taking 27 to the face when I could have just set that or kept it in hand, and then he would have wasted his Rotary. But it is what it is. So I have the field spell, and I'm like, well, this is rough. If he has anything to chain, then he can Zaylin it. He chains the called by, and here's where it's like, if he didn't shuffle back the trap, I actually would have chained the trap here, so I get my draw in the end phase and then hope for the best off of my draw. But that actually would have been a worse play, because obviously, you know, like, if I don't get anything, you know, he has a Zaylin, and that's just game. And if he top decks anything, you know, like, I can deal with whatever I top deck, you know, or draw from this Obsidian, then it's like, fine. So, and then I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh wait, this is a good thing, because he didn't need to do this at all. So obviously he wastes the called by, and he doesn't actually call by anything of merit as well. He just calls by like a random Ash. And then Obsidian reads, if this card in the field zone is destroyed by or banished, not if this card on the field. So just from activating it or attempting to activate it, just it being there, like in this zone, it's like if they remove it, it's done. Like it's gonna trigger. So he obviously has nothing now, and he didn't hit anything of use. So I send away this Zaylin. I summon out Vados, and then because he summoned multiple times last turn, I make a Typhon, and I bounce my Vados because he put the trap back, so I might as well get like things going. And then he finally understands, and he's out of there. So that was a huge misplay on his part, and because of that, we literally like I mean, if we top deck a monster, that would have been game. But we obviously know that we were going to top deck a monster because he fixed our top deck, which is funny because our next, if he didn't banish the Shaman, I think that was at the top, so we would have top decked the Shaman and we would have had game anyway, which is really funny. But it is what it is. But no, because he randomly chose to interact with this, which he really had to force, by the way, because he had called by the grave. So he had to call by something that meant absolutely nothing in the game state we were in. And he just had to waste so much. So yeah, our Perulia of disrespect did not, thankfully did not lose us the game. And yeah, we just, yeah, it just was what it was. Like he just did too much. When doing less was more important. Now if he did that in the end phase, when I attempted to draw, that would have been devastating. That would have been terrible, because that Priestess in the end phase, it would have done realistically nothing. Like it would have maybe blocked an attack if he top deck any cool tune. Then, like, you know, we obviously lose right there on the spot. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the replays. And I don't usually do this, but let's take a look at some of the interesting decks we played against, because there was a couple of bangers out here. All right, so this is the first deck we played against. This is the Archfiend Labyrinth deck, which is a really cool mix. I'm not crazy about Labyrinth. Oh, and Fiendsmith. I'm not crazy about Labyrinth. I'm not necessarily crazy about Fiendsmith, but Archfiends are really cool, and this was a really cool way to play them. Like Usurpation, having 2 targets, and you can set them from the grave as well. Really, really neat. really neat stuff. One welcome labyrinth because you can bring it back. Oh, this as well, archery and playtime. Yeah, this gets you like the boys from the deck. Big welcome, of course. Here's the alt art called by. Yeah, this was a really cool, interesting deck. Oof, royal rare, aerial eater. That's a pretty sick one. It actually, yeah, the colors on it look actually really nice. It's actually really aerial leader like itself. Like I don't think it looks like crazy, but I really like the shade of green that it is, and with the royal like tint to it, it looks even crazier. All right, so unfortunately, the other 3 duels are in the WCS qualifiers, so I can't look at our opponent's decks. I have no idea why that's the case. It's a very strange thing to do, but it is what it is. Yeah, this is what we're playing for all 4 duels, and yeah, everything like came up except for like bonfire, a 1-up for consistency. Honestly, you probably cut it, just make it 41, but like bonfire, it just feels nice to have a lot of the time. And it's a good bait. It's a great bait. It's just unknown knowledge. They don't know anything. You just start with bonfire. Just drop a bonfire. They're gonna be like, oh man, this guy's playing snake eyes. I gotta stop this. I gotta keep him off those monsters. And then yeah, they ash this, drop the Azuna, and they're like, oh man, he's playing K9s with some weird engine. But yeah, this is what we were playing. There's a lot of cool things I got to show off in these replays. That play with the field spell getting negated and destroyed in the field zone, like that never really comes up, but very cool that it does. And yeah, like field zone, it's just a random thing to mention. Yeah, you could even go like, you could even activate Obsidian and then chain to it Vados and pop it, and it still works. Like it doesn't matter, like as long as it's in the zone. Really cool. Element stealing, falling to Virtuous popping, problem and annoying cards, and being super free discards or sends off of droplets. Yeah, it's a lot of really cool and fun stuff in this deck, in this build. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you have the UR dust to spare, there's this. I will admit, is not the cheapest thing to make, but if you do have the dust to spare, it's definitely worth giving a shot. It's a very fun deck, very cool deck. This is probably the build I'm gonna be playing for a while. I'm gonna test out some other builds. Gotta give the K9s a rest, you know, whether they're dogs, police, or both. You know, we all need a break eventually. So I'm probably gonna sit these guys down for a little bit, try something out a little different. But we'll see when the time comes. We'll see what's in the next pack. We'll see what I can think of. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you made it this long, if you made it this far in, you know, definitely consider liking, commenting, and all that. And take care.